भुवनेश्वर केन्द्र अर्थमंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण 2 दिनिया ओडिशा गस्तर आसी केन्द्र अर्थमंत्री पोस्ट बजेट आलोचना चक्र में भाग नेउछंती।
The reasons which are not mentioned, meaning they show for what purpose they are, and that is the purpose. There is no below the carpet pushing of agenda or keeping something secretive. So the budget states it and spends it on those grounds. But I'll ask Somanathan to give us the further details.
So just to elaborate, the 35,000 crores, as Madam has mentioned, has the primary purpose of enabling the public sector oil company refineries to be upgraded to reduce their emissions to meet India's ambitious green targets. So there are emission levels in refineries which have to be reduced, for which certain retrofitting capital expenditure is required. That is one of the purposes. The second is to adapt these refineries to be able to do blending of biofuels along with the petroleum that they already use. And the third is the building up of strategic reserves. I repeat, it is entirely capital expenditure. It is not a subsidy on petrol and diesel. Petrol and diesel subsidy, when it is given, is shown under the appropriate head. For example, in this year's revised estimates, there is a much enhanced provision for petroleum and diesel subsidy, which has been given to the oil companies.
Shri Akshay Shahu, the Asian Age.
Even your critics to appreciate some parts of the budget, including Odisha Chief Minister. Odisha Chief Minister has appreciated some of the points, like you have given thrust to millet mission, and you have also given support to drinking water initiative, and also you have given support to this rural housing thing. But he has expressed his concerns over reduction in funds for on MG energy head. Second, he has also expressed his concern over reduction in allocation for procurement of rice. And thirdly, he has also expressed his concern over reduction in these two things. He has expressed his concerns, and he has said that once you have reduced the allocation for MG energy, it will lead to poor, and this reduction in allocation of funds for the food procurement will hit the farmers. So what will you say on this?
No, I'm thankful that the budget has been gone through in such detail. But the fund allocation for Manrega, I've said this in the parliament as well, has not gone down. Budget time allocation is one thing. And because the scheme itself is a demand-driven scheme, as and when the demand increases on them, we keep making the provision. And this is proven. You can check the budget of Prime Minister Modi since 2014, 14, 15, 16 till today. Every time we make an allocation during the budget estimate, and then through the year, as and when the demand goes up, we revise it. And in the supplementary demand for grants, you always see that we've added some more for Parliament to pass, and therefore fully implemented the Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. And this is in contrast with what happened between 2004 to 2014. So it is one thing to give at the beginning of the budget, and also equally important to keep responding to the developing situation in the ground, and even more important to fully implement it. I showed the contrast between the 10 years of UPA and the 8-9 years of Prime Minister Modi's government, NDA, where Manrega has been fully utilized by the end of the year. And during the COVID pandemic, you saw it even crossed 1,10,000 crores. So, to look at the budget time figure and say, oh, you brought it down, is not right. It develops as the demand develops, and we keep giving it as the demand develops, and we, end of the year, also ensure that it gets spent. So these are very clear strategies through which we go. I'm sure there are instances from states where sometimes the amount given at the beginning is already seen through, and then there are pending bills coming from them. It doesn't work out clearly. So as and when the demand comes, we sort of give. And as regards rice procurement, I think there is, as regards procurement per se, wheat or rice, we have not at all brought down the procurement. If anything, the quantum of procurement again in these years, these 8 years compared to the 8 years any time prior, the quantum has gone up, and because the MSP rate is high, even the total amount given to the farmer after procurement is also very high. And even better, the MSP nowadays is directly debited or put into the account of the farmer. So no middleman can take away any money which is being given to the farmer. So actual amount procured, the price at which it is procured, without pilferage, the price reaching the farmer, total amount spent on procurement are all high now. So you can be sure that there is no coming down of these figures.
Mr. Subhash Mohanty from the Telegraph.
Hello sir, good morning. Sir, don't you think that the allocation of budget, ma'am, don't you think that the allocation of budget around 7,200 crores for the under the Prime Minister of Ayushman Yojana, whether it is adequate, ma'am?
Ayushman Bharat is also a scheme where as and when the identity of a family is recognized and the monies are being given to them, the card is given, the number is being given to them, they get their allocation. So there is no shortfall, and in fact we can even target more and more families. The health department is quite seized of the matter.
Ma'am, don't you think that the banks are under stress due to the loan exposure to other groups?
The State Bank of India actually has given its statement about how much exposure it has. You've heard it from the horse's mouth.
Mr. Suresh Kar from Pratyusha.
Sorry, who's this? The paper name is Pratyusha.
Yes. Ma'am, namaskar. I am Suresh Kara. Ma'am, what steps have you taken in the budget for marginal farmer family? And other question, what advice do you give to SEBI in Hindenburg matter?
On the farmer.
So there are a number of there are a number of announcements in the budget for agriculture, which all of which also benefit the marginal farmer. So the marginal farmer is also a farmer. So apart from the ongoing programs of the PM Kisan, and I'm giving you only an illustration, there are a number of items. The Agricultural Accelerator Fund is something which actually helps marginal farmers. What is the intention here? It intends to create a system of startups who will provide agricultural, I'm giving an example, agricultural implements on hire, the way that you can take a taxi from Uber. In the same way, implements and equipment can be made available to marginal. Suppose he needs it for 2 hours on a particular day, he needs to pay only for that. That is the intention of the Agriculture Accelerator Fund, is to induce startups to provide equipment, expertise and services to small farmers in affordable installments which they can pay when they need it. They don't need to own these pieces of equipment, and they can compete with all other farmers by using the same kinds of equipment with the larger farmer is able to buy. A small marginal farmer may not be able to afford a tractor, but he can afford to hire a tractor. So these are some of the initiatives there. There are a number of others on Prakritik agriculture. So there is a whole list. I don't have the list with me, but a number of measures have been taken for the marginal farmers.
I think, another question, ma'am.
1 minute, 1 minute.
If I may add, there is a digital public infrastructure for agriculture. It will be like India is tapped for financial inclusion. The purpose is farmer-centric solutions through relevant information services for crop planning, health, and improved access to farm inputs, credit, and insurance. Then we have for enhancing the productivity of cotton crop, it will be a collaborative PPP between farmers, state, and industry using a cluster-based approach and value chain approach for input supplies, extension services, etc. Then we have a Atmanirbhar horticulture clean plant program. This will facilitate availability of disease-free quality planting material for high-value horticulture crops. Then we have this global hub for millets. Shri Anna, there is an announcement for this Indian Institute of Millet Research, Hyderabad, will be developed as the center of excellence for sharing best practices, research, and technologies at all levels. Then the agriculture credit target has been increased to 20 lakh crore, which will enhance focus on animal husbandry, dairy, and fisheries. And there is a new sub-scheme for fisheries farmers to enable the activities of fishermen, fish vendors, micro and small enterprises. Then on corporation side, we have a plan to set up massive decentralized storage capacity and facilitating setting up of a large number of multi-purpose cooperative societies.
Ma'am, another question. My question is, what advice do you give?
1 minute.
To SEBI in
1 minute.
Indian matter?
It is not ended. Okay, I just like to supplement because there are very important things for marginal farmers. I think one of the important things is credit. You say that 20 lakh crore of agriculture credit is given to the farmer. There is an interest subvention. It is given at a 4% rate of interest. And if you are making timely payment, then it comes to only 1%. So credit is important. Then also there is an MSP. There is an MSP for various crops where the cost plus and this thing is also provided. And third important thing is the cost of fertilizers, because the fertilizer prices have not been increased despite the fact that the production as well as the import is at much higher price. So that is the price, the subsidy which is borne by the government.
Another question.
I've heard you. If you're repeating the question.
What advice do you give to SEBI in Hindenburg matter?
The matter is being heard through a PIL in the court, Supreme Court, and that too probably it is being heard today. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Vishwabhushan Mishra from Nirbhaya.
Namaskar, my name is Vishwabhushan Mishra, Satya Shondula. My question is that you have set at 15,000 crores disinvestment target. I am hopeful to achieve that. The question is NALCO listed for disinvestment?
Yes, the target is we follow today the calibrated disinvestment strategy, what is practical, pragmatic, and it does not distort the market, keeping to the market conditions. And accordingly, realistically, a target has been set. Secondly, NALCO is not on disinvestment list.
Mr. Kailash Mangaraj from Satula.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My question is, anywhere in your budget speech, you did not have mentioned the word unemployment, inequality, poverty, and inequity. When the inflation rate in the country is more than 6% above the RBI limit, so you don't have you don't have arranged any strong proposal in the budget for decreasing the.
ଶୁଣୁଛନ୍ତି କେନ୍ଦ୍ର ଅର୍ଥମନ୍ତ୍ରୀ ନିର୍ମଳା ସୀତାରମଣ ओडिशा गस्तर आसी पोस्ट बजेट आलोचना चक्र भाग नहीं केन्द्र बजेट्र सफलता 2023-24 बजेट सफलता संपर्क में जनाउछंती केन्द्र अर्थमंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण एवं फेब्रुआरी 1 तारिख में 2023-24 आर्थिक वर्ष पर केन्द्र बजेट उपस्थापन होइतिला।